Hey, what's up YouTube? It's the Blind Poet back at you guys with another video. Today I want to discuss braille, more specifically its application in the 21st century. So right here, if you guys can see this is a braille watch. You see the hands, you can feel them, and you can use the analog to tell you where it is. It's a pretty cool novelty in my opinion, but it also gives you the option,
12:35 a.m.
you know, just in case you're feeling a bit lazy, but I like that it has that option. Now, braille has been around since the 19th century. Funny story how it invented. Some French guy was in his dad's tool shed playing around with his knives and basically sharp objects, and he screwed up his eyes. I think he was like 3 or 4 years old. His name was Louis Braille. So that's where braille comes from. If you ever notice the Frenchy spelling, B-R-A-I-L-L-E. And it's essentially a 6-dotted cell. When I say 6-dotted cell, I'm gonna, for my sighted audience, I'm gonna use my finger. You got dot 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. It's 2 rows of 3 dots. And what you do is you essentially use those 6 dots to make various combinations to form words. So my name, Ahmed, A-H-M-A-D. So it would be dot 1, and then the H is dot 125, dot M, and then the M is dot 134, A is dot 1, D. You get the idea. Out of 6 dots, you can make a hell of a lot of combinations. And it really sort of evened the playing field. However, braille is a language just like anything else, and it'll regionally vary. In the last century and a half, British braille versus American braille, it's very different. I really noticed the dichotomy in Spanish. At Virginia School for the Deaf and Blind, we would get textbooks in Spanish braille. And the accent marks were completely different. Each, for example, if the books came from Chile, the accent marks would be a dot 5. They'd be a dot 1 if they came from Spain. It was just very confusing and not uniform at all. And the real issue with braille is the viability. What do I mean by viability? When you need 56 volumes of a book to create a textbook, that's just not practical for the student to hold around. I can specifically remember in geometry, there was a math problem that required 2 braille volumes. Okay, 2 big, wide books of about 200 pages apiece for one math problem because they had to braille draw the shapes and stuff. I understand the effort and I can appreciate that, but it's just not viable, and technology has really evened the playing field. When it comes to braille, I think that, and me personally, I'm fluent in both grades 1 and 2, simplified and contracted braille. But just like any muscle, if you don't use it, you lose it. I'm very thankful I know braille because, for example, thanks to the Americans with Disabilities Act, all elevators and signs are required to have braille. So I won't ever have trouble, reading a sign or finding a bathroom or an elevator or something like that. But beyond that, I really don't see much of a practical use for it. Braille displays have only just now begun to be priced competitively. And what a braille display is essentially you hook it up to your computer, and rather than the computer reading what you need aloud, it's on a braille cell display so you can read it at the bottom. But again, you can only fit so many cells. They have 18 cell, 32 cell, and 40 cell. And the bottom line is 40 braille cells is maybe about 5-6 words max. It's just not viable. So my honest final thoughts on braille is it's great to have. I think every blind person should know it for basic survival. But I think that it's a myth that's perpetuated by a lot of the bigger organizations that if you can't read braille at a college level, you will not succeed in life. I can tell you right now, I read 25 words a minute in braille. That is not at all competitive in college. Why would I put myself through that and having to memorize the words and stuff when I could get an audio recording, which are much more widely available, and do the work at the same time as my peers? I've got apps on my phone that basically let me download most books that come out for audio. It usually takes a couple months to format them for the blind, but it's a free government-provided service. In the past, if I wanted to read a book, I remember I ordered Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows, like 750 pages, I think. It was 13 volumes. It was 13 volumes, and I just couldn't read fast enough to get into this story. So this myth has been perpetuated that if you can't read braille, you're basically illiterate. So I think I'm here to dispel that because I subscribe to the, notion that, Braille, audio, reader, do what you have to do. Whatever works for you. Everyone is different. I got through college, and the only thing I used Braille for was during my French classes. I would have somebody spell the verbs, I would Braille them down, and study them for the weekend. And that's a great application for it. But I'm not going to sit here and say that I could read a competitive paragraph in a college setting in front, at an acceptable speed. So that's just my final thoughts on Braille. If you guys have any questions, definitely let me know. I'm really sad to see Braille sort of being phased out, but, I'm also happy to see what's to come because the playing field has really evened for us. Thank you all so much.